One of the most interesting on-screen dynamics I've seen in years is the dynamic between Eric Tao and Harper Stern in industry. Two characters equally ambitious, driven, and ruthless. The two first meet in episode 1 of the show. Eric is a managing director at Pierpoint, and he holds the interview that Harper does. He's instantly charmed by her, and that's for multiple reasons. Firstly, Harper and Eric are both Americans living in London. They're both people of color in a predominantly white institution, and they're both incredibly tenacious individuals. In the interview, Eric comments that he'd have to move mountains to get her hired because of her non-target background. This will be a relatively common theme in their relationship. Harper mentions believing in a meritocracy and that she only wants to be judged by the strength of her abilities, and makes a dig at people whose parents hide their mediocrity behind dollar bills, which amuses Eric. Throughout the show, Eric portrays a level of disdain for his wealthy clients, seeing them as merely walking wallets that he'll perform for as long as they keep the tab open. Later in the season, Eric realizes that Harper lied about even finishing university by forging her records. He keeps her secret, still giving her opportunities and covers her tracks. I like to liken their dynamic to an incredibly toxic father-daughter bond. Harper absorbs all of Eric's worst behaviors and schemes and regurgitates it. Eric even praises these traits and nurtures it until it's aimed at him.
Do you ever listen to the pat shit that comes out of your fucking mouth? Everything you do on the floor communicates an ideology that people are a means to an end. I enact your philosophy, and you have the nerve to come into my office and call me a bad person?
Eric has a very nuanced relationship with Harper. There's a real care there, and he does have the urge to nurture her talent and go beyond what's necessary to let her succeed. But that nurturing aspect of him is constantly at odds with his own philosophy and selfish nature. His care is often wrapped in venom. In season 1, Eric gets in trouble for abusing his authority. Things come truly reeling when he locks Harper in a room and berates her for failing to get back a client that he messed up his relationship with. He throws back everything he's done for her in her face. A senior employee, Daria, notices this, and in the narrative, she was already growing increasingly irritated with the toxic workplace culture, so she convinces Harper to make a complaint against him with her. And it must be noted that Harper and Eric's relationship at this point in the story had grown significantly. Harper, truly embodying the lessons of Eric and standing true to her own nature, recants her statement, effectively bringing him back. Not simply out of loyalty, but as assurance. Eric knew her secret. Eric understood the game that she was trying to play and moved accordingly. They got each other. Harper was never going to choose Daria and her plight of reformation for the toxic machismo embedded in the workplace because Harper never felt understood or even really comfortable with her. Eric and Daria operate as mentor-like figures in Harper's life, but they are foils of each other. The narrative highlights this with their opposing philosophy. Daria tells Harper that she should make the clients feel like friends so that they forget what they actually are, a counterparty. Eric explicitly says that this isn't a social club, and he doesn't give a shit and only performs that role. He needs to see dollars, not performance just because. Daria hates lying, possessiveness, and playing favorites. Whereas Eric proudly plays favorites. He has a nickname for Harper, for Christ's sake. He calls her Harps and Harpsichord all the time on the trading floor. For all to hear, he doesn't care. And as I said, he praises that vicious tenacity that Harper has, because he's also that thing. And while Daria is a highly skilled, seemingly talented employee, she doesn't have the hunger in the same way they do. Or at least, they don't perceive her in that way. I feel like I can't talk about this dynamic without specifically highlighting episode 7 of season 2 titled Lone Wolf and Cub. Lone Wolf and Cub is a manga series by Kazuo Koike and Gaseki Kojima that ran from 1970 to 1976. It follows the story of a shogunate executioner Ito that is framed as a traitor by an opposing clan and loses his title. He and his infant son Dayagoro go on a journey battling dangerous foes as he tries to restore his honor and exact revenge. The episode follows Eric, Harper, and Rishi as they try to leave Pierpoint for a rival bank. Because the company is going under and they want to poach as many clients as they can, so when it does, they're in a favorable position. The episode itself borrows a lot of themes and it has a lot of parallels to the manga, but instead of samurais, it's about navigating the cutthroat finance industry. I feel like the lone wolf and cub story is not only relevant to this episode, but a good description of Eric and Harper's overall dynamic. Eric, like Ito, are not good people. They are morally complex individuals. They love their kids, but all the while, they'd put them in danger to get an upper hand. Really, any semblance of tactical advantage. They are ruthless individuals willing to push the boundaries to win. And like Ito, he does have a protective streak. There is love and care peppered in what is ultimately a highly toxic dynamic. Harper, like Daigoro, chooses to follow Eric's path. In the manga, Ito lets a 3-year-old Daigoro choose between a ball, which represents a peaceful life, and a sword, representing the path of the executioner. In industry, we see multiple times where Eric offers Harper his baseball bat or his pen, kind of mirroring this idea.
You wanted to see me?
Many years ago, my mentor got me this. He made up something about how many pockets it's seen, real estate deals, divorces, insolvencies, declarations of war.
Welcome back.
When he handed it to me, he said, choose your own adventure.
We know that Harper is just as ruthless as Eric and even more cunning, something I think genuinely scares him because he knows he did have a hand in fostering that. While there is a synergy between them that is unique, they both operate efficiently without each other. What they bring each other is that fire and that hunger and risk-taking that keeps them on their toes that no other environment or dynamic has really mimicked so far. And there is a sense of understanding because they have so much overlap. I think they genuinely do understand each other. Eric and Harper's dynamic has evolved too. It would be a disservice to merely say that it's a father-daughter dynamic. There's an aspect of that for sure, and I think it's quite poignant, but they also have evolved to be equals. In season 1, Harper is new. Eric takes her under his wings and she absorbs so much from him. And he gives her access and guides her. But by season 3, Harper is her own fully realized person who is capable and independent. And there's an obvious shift in the power dynamics. They no longer even work together and there's so much tension because of all that's occurred since then. At the end of season 2, Eric betrays Harper by exposing to Pierpoint that she never actually graduated university and she forged her documents, which gets her fired. Eric tells her that he's doing it for her own good, which is partially true, or at the very least, that's what he tells himself to justify the act. He does it to solidify his own position. This betrayal sets the stage for season 3, where we find Harper not as down on her luck and searching for scraps, but landing on her feet and being quite successful, evading any real consequences. Harper, though in a good position, can't seem to quite let go of the malice and Eric's act of betrayal. She ensures she gets back at him by hitting him where it hurts the most, his job and reputation. Their dynamic turns into an all-out rivalry, and in a weird way, I think they begin to slowly realize they liked having each other around, though they'd never actually admit it. Ultimately, I'm really intrigued as to where the creators of the show will take this dynamic. I do have a soft spot for these two characters, and though their relationship as it is quite dysfunctional, I really do want to see them mend their issues and become a safe space for each other, because I think all the seeds are sowed to have that happen. It really is beautifully written, and I just am excited to see how it plays out as the show goes on and to see where the story takes us in season 4. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and comment your thoughts on this character dynamic. See you in the next video.